Ingat je. Tunggu results Okay or not okay. Susah ke senang? The test.
Senang gitu.
Senang. If that easy, then will be faster, will be much more. Because it's about being, and also you think about being CSC. So basically, if you watch the lecture, so the lecture is about Java Bean. So we have learned Java Beans basically. Java Beans is actually the Java class that you created. For example, in the you have created movie item. So that considered as a Java Bean class. It's a Java class that we can call it as a Java Bean. As Java Bean, which is one more component in Java Web Technology. So let's look what is a Java Bean. So it's an ordinary Java class that conforms to this following rule. Humans, which is just a constructor. And then you are assigning the default value for the default data members. So this is a Java class that we call it as a Java Bean. And then this Java Bean should provide getter and setter. If you still remember, in your movie item class, you did have getter and setter method. So this is basically to provide for getter, create an object so it can actually access the property value. And then to update the value, we have the setter method. So setter method will use the assignment, whereby you include the parameter, and then you set the value using the setter method. And then Java Bean should implement the java.io.serializable. So meaning that we will have a class name which would implements java.io.serializable. So let's say you have the movie item. So the movie item class should implement. So you will click create class movie item implements java.io.serializable. So that will be your Java Bean. So why we need to use this Java Bean? If you look at the structure of this Java Bean, it's actually a basic Java class. And then why we need this basic Java class? Because we want to support the reusability. Reusability meaning that if you have other methods that can reuse this movie item class, so you can just call the movie item, create an object, and just reuse, because it just have get and set method. It doesn't have any other methods. So this is why we call it as a Java Beans. And then it's easy to use because it's standard convention. Then component based. So this is why we call it a component, because we do have the structure of view, controller, and model. So Java Bean will be the model component. If you look at a framework, we call it as MVC, right? So for MVC framework, you will have model as a Java Bean. Okay, so for Java Bean, we will use it as an enterprise application. And so you can use as a GUI development and also as a middleware. So this is all the common application where we apply the Java Bean. Enterprise meaning that we can use it widely used in enterprise level application. Whereas GUI, if you have something that you want to use, so you can also use Java Bean as well. Same as middleware. So for Java Bean, you have some properties. You need to have get and set. So this is the compulsory if you create a Java Bean. So this property can be accessed by the user of the object. So we will have JSP Java Bean. In JSP syntax, we will create Java Bean object, and then you will use this getter and setter in the JSP itself. But the syntax are different. It's not the same as the traditional JSP. So this syntax will be a different one. specific to access the Java bean in your Java class. So let's look at an example. Normally, when you want to create an object, so you will create class name, object name, new class name, right? You need to have the new syntax. So let's say movie item, MV equal to new movie item. So this new is normally used when you want to create new object in Java, whether in Sublet or whether in JSP or whether in Java class. But when you want to use Java beans in JSP, you need to have this syntax. So you need to have JSP, started JSP. The syntax will start with use bean. Use bean means that you're going to create an object using Java bean. So the object name will be ID. You need to specify the object name to ID and then scope. Okay, you will need to specify the scope attribute. We will look into this later. What are the scope attribute being supported in Java beans in JSP? And then the class name. So you need to provide where does the class location. For example, if you create a package for this movie item, let's say you create the movie item in com.movie.movie item, for example. So the class name is movie item, but you need to put the package name start from com.movie.movie item. So this is the syntax for you to use Java beans in JSP. So you need to have this syntax in the JSP file. But this is equivalent to this. Basically, it will create the object, but this one without scope attributes. So here we specify the scope attributes where we want the object to be alive, whether in application level or page level or session level. So that kind of scope you need to specify. So this is the scope attributes for the Java bean, the object of Java bean. So meaning that if you set the scope attribute to become application, equal application, so this will belong to the same application. Same application meaning that you will have one equal to session, so it will belong to the same session, meaning that whatever that you share, the new object that you share, so it will be alive during the session alive, the same session alive. Request is another scope whereby this is if you have a form, you submit to a page, and then this is the object that can be accessible from processing the request. So when you specify scope equal to request, so that object will be passed to one page to another page per request. Okay. Another one is page, scope equal to page. So this is only within that page that they were created. So this is how we differentiate the scope of the attribute. Okay, it will define the visibility and lifetime of an object. So how the object will be available for use in each of the attribute scope. So as you can see, page will be the least visible. Request, okay, and then we have session here, and the last one is application. So normally, object for application, most visible. We can specify maybe time. Time, let's say you want to set time for the quiz to be alive for that application, for the quiz application. So you can create new object and then specify the scope attribute equal to application, and then the time will be appear same for all the users, regardless the user's PC. So that is the scope attribute visibility. So the most visible will be application. The least visible will be the page. So far so good, class. Scope attribute. Boleh?
Boleh.
Okay. Right. So let's look further. Okay, for application, as I said before, the object is bound to the application. So the object can be shared by all the session. So this is the syntax. Yeah, you use GSP, use bin. This is the object name, address. This is the location of that particular Java bin. You put it in the package of com.test.address bin. Address bin is the class name. This is the object name. And you put the scope equal to application. For example, if the value is entered by one user in his web page is visible to another guy, it will be disastrous, wouldn't it? So we need to be cautious before using this scope. So as I said before, the common scope for application, normally we use for time, the one that we want all the user can see. It's not that only one user can see. So you need to think before you put scope equal to application, because it will be shared across user session. All people can see that variable. All people can access the variable. So application is can be shared, most visible throughout the application. For session, so this one only for per session by a single user. So this is for client session only. Yeah. So if a bin declared with session scope, it will be available to all the JSP and servlet that are accessed by a single user. So that can be shared for one particular session for one user only. The application tadi all users. Okay. Next is page. Page is only for one page. It's not a local variable. Okay, so when you use scope equal to page, so normally that object can be used for that particular page. So it cannot be processed to another page, forward, or you want to use include. Let's say you want to have request dispatcher object, and then you want to redirect that page to another page. You want to pass the object. You cannot use that because the scope is equal to page. So that is only for that particular page. It's like local variable. Okay, next is request. This is the common one that we always use. So this one can be passed throughout pages. And so meaning that if you declare in page one, let's say main page, and then you want it to process to the next page, you use JSP include or JSP forward or JSP request dispatcher object. So you can use this scope request. So that let's say normally we use name, JSP use bin ID equal to name, and then the scope is request, and then you want to pass name for that page, another page. So the name can be shared throughout all the pages by using the scope equal to request. So that is also visible for request for all the pages that shared. But you need to use the JSP forward or request dispatcher object. So that's all the request scope attributes. Let's look example. So let's say this is simple class. We call it car bin, and we have package. The car bin is located in package com.usof.cars. So when you want to specify the class, you need to specify com.usof.cars.carbin. Okay, this car bin, we have one data members, private string make equal to 4. And then you have one default constructor without any argument. And then you have one get method, get make, return make. And then you also have set make with one parameter string make. So this will assign the make data members to the make, the one that been passed in this string. Okay, so this is your bin name, car bin. Next, okay, so this is the step to create a Java bin. So just now you have saw the example. Okay, so first you need to create a Java bin class. Let's say you create a car bin, and then you need to instantiate the bin in a JSP page. So we will do this one next. Instantiate the bin, meaning that you need to use the JSP syntax. So here is the JSP syntax. And so you use this JSP, use bin ID, example bin, class equal to com.example bin, scope is session. So session meaning that you're going to share this object name equal to value. So that value you will specify accordingly because you have put it star. And so it will find out which one property that match, and then it will set the value with the property that match with the equivalent name. So that is considered star. Right? And then you have get property. So for get property, this is specify the property name. Yeah? So meaning that if you have property name, branch, so the number, so that's going to be specified here for you to get the value back. So this will return back the value. It will display basically the value. This one is set. So set normally is like your setter method, yeah, but in different syntax. Get is basically you want to get the value, but in different syntax. So this is how you use Java beans in GSP. Okay, so if you are answering a question later, yeah, you need to look at the question. If the question say GSP, and then it doesn't use Java bean, so that will require answer using a normal JSP. Whereas if the question asks you to use Java beans in JSP, then you need to have this kind of syntax. Yeah, you need to have JSP use bean, JSP set property, and JSP get property. So do not mix up the answer with a normal JSP or a Java beans in JSP. Okay, now let's create a JSP page to use the bean. So just now I have give you the car bean, yeah, a normal car bean Java class. So this is how we create a JSP page to use the bean. So you start with JSP use bean, ID equal to my car, and then class here, you specify the location of your car bean. So previously in the car bean class, we do have package. So it's located in com.yusuf.cars, and the class name is car bean. So that's why the class here is like this. Yeah, so you need to specify the package along the way with the class name. Next, this is JSP file, right? So you have the HTML start, then you have head and the body tag, then you have using a Java bean. Okay, the next line, I use the Java beans. Yeah? So I start with the get because I want to get the value. Yeah? I want to display the value. So this is JSP get property. Name, my car is the object. I'm referring here, I create an object, my car. Property is make. So I'm accessing the property of make from this class. And so make here is equal to 4. Okay. So I have a, so I get the value. Then I call the set property. Okay. And then I want to change the value. Okay. My car here, this is my car. Property make to this value. Then I print out, now I use the get property again to get the property value. All right. Can anyone compile this and run the program? What's the output class? Come on, what's the output? Now I have a Ferrari. Is that the only output? Imagine that you are accessing this page. It should start with what? I have a 4. You start with the the title. You have H2 there, right? This is the H2 using a Java bean. So this is the title of the page, right? Because it starts with the body. So all HTML will be displayed starting from the body tag. So you have using a Java bean. I have a Ford. Now I have a Ferrari. Is everyone okay with this? Any other answer? Okay or not okay?
Okay.
All right. So the output should show like this. Using a Java bean, I have a Ford. Now I have a Ferrari. So the value will be changed, yeah? Because you have set here, set property. ID is my car, the property is make, and you change the value of the make. Yeah, property of make from Ford become a Ferrari. So that's why you get the output like this. Yeah? Right. So I think that's all for the recap using Java Beans in JSP. Let's look at the tutorial. Okay. Let's say you can create an object in a JSP scriptlet. What is the difference between an object created using the new operator and a bin created using the JSP use bin tag? I have explained this now. Anyone can spot what is the answer? What's the different class? This slide. Okay. This is using the JSP use bin. This is using the normal JSP or Java, right? Creating an object. We have new here. So what's the different class? Can anyone have a guess?
The
Scope. Okay. So the scope is basically the one that different between the new operator and also the JSP using tag. So in the new, if you use the new operator, you do not have any scope. Okay, so meaning that the object can be used throughout the application, throughout everything. But then if you use bin, you need to specify the scope for the particular JSP file. That is the answer for question number 1. All right. Let's look number 2. Scope attribute. What is the scope attribute for? Anyone?
to determine how long the data stored in an object is available.
Right. The object. Yeah, basically we're talking about the object. So the scope attribute will rely on the object specifically. It's correct. How about the for scope of the attributes? List it one by one.
Application, session, request, and page.
Right. Thank you. So we have about 4 scope of attributes. Yeah. Request, session, application, and page. So each of it have a different definition and different kind of scope. All right, let's look number 3. I want everyone to do this. Then pass me the code via the chat. Yeah? Create a Java Bean class, name student. Data members will be age, first name and last name. And then create a constructor, which means we need to create the default constructor. Yeah. And then get the and setter. Okay, let's do that. Give you about 5 minutes. Okay, got the answer? So we have a class student. Yeah. So let's do that together. Okay. Grade 1, Java class name, student class. See, this is student. Say you put it inside com.st. So it should implement. So this Java bin. So implements java.io.variable. So let's take your and configure so we declare private integer age. Last name. And then we just have student, which is the constructor, the normal constructor. And then get the and settle for each of the data members, right? Okay, right? Now this is your student.java. And so you need to have this increment set. This one is missing. All right. So this is for your student class. So this is the default constructor without any arguments, and these are the getter each of the variable and also setter for each of the variable. Okay, thank you for this number 3. Okay, that's grade number 4. Number 4, you need to create a JSP to interact with this bin. Okay, so you need to use the JSP use tag. Use bin to instantiate a bin get property and set property to get and set the bin properties. This is like the example I gave you just now. Right? All right, let's do this. Give you another 5 minutes. Yeah? How was it? Then dah settle? Dah create dah? GSP? GSP file? Anyone want to share? Tak ada. Anyone want to share the GSP? Okay. Uma again. Yang lain tak buat ke? Uma je buat. Is it? Yang lain buat tak? Okay, let's create a student.jsp. Example and tutorial. So you will start writing it in the body tag. Yeah? So in the body tag, you will start with the import. Okay? First, you need to import. So like what Umar done. This one, so you need to have page com.example.student, but mine is com.stu je. Modify this, com.stu.student. Okay, so dia akan refer kepada com.stu.student.java. Clear, eh? You need to have this in order for you to use the JSP utility. So let's copy what Omar has done. So we set right. So first you need to have this JSP use bin student class com dot. So this one. And we have the stat. Okay, stat means normally you give the value or you get the value from a form. Yeah. So currently the question asks you instantiate a bin, get property, and set property to get and set the bin properties. So this will be an example lah. So normally first name kita akan bagi value lah sebab you tak ada form which submit to this Java bin. So if you have a form, you need to get the value from the form, and then you assign the value equal to the value from the form. So normally you can use request.get parameter and then put the value inside that. So but now I will just put the value. So this is how you do it. So you will set the student first name with ID, and then if you want to display this one, so finish if you want to display the value lah, then you get back the property student, and this one, right? Okay.
Doktor lupa yang belakang tu doktor. JSP tag tak tutup betul. Dekat grab property.
Oh, this one. Alright. Sebab dia kena ada close tag kan. This one is just a close tag. Kalau you tak nak guna ni, you boleh juga add something like this. Itu pun boleh. So, dia kena use pin tu lah. Macam tu. This one also equivalent lah to different. Pun boleh. So, either or. Either or. Okay, this is the answer for that tutorial. Yeah? So basically, you need to understand this one, creation of object, and then this is the object name, and then this is the setter. You want to set the value. This is a value that you set, which is output. later in our lab exercise, I will have a form. So you need to create the form. Form will be submitted to this Java bin. And then you need to retrieve the value from the form and assign it to this value. Yeah? And then this will get the property, which is the one that you have set. So it will print out value. Yeah? Try to publish it. Here you go. So, Ali, the one that you have, I'll put it. Yeah? Yeah. So do Ali. Are you on your screen? Yeah? Value. Boleh class? Any question regarding the execution of Java bin in JSP? This is how you code Java bin in JSP. Slightly different from the normal JSP. The syntax will be different. In the way it interacts is the same. You have getter and setter. No question? So let's go on number 5. Number 5. Write an equivalent syntax for get the property in JSP. So this not using Java beans, but we're using the normal JSP. Anyone have any idea? What is the equivalent syntax for that? This is the syntax. You have an object name bin ID, and then you want to get the property of bin ID, which is the property is sample. So what is an equivalent syntax? JSP syntax, normal JSP syntax. Come on, have a guess. What is the object here, class?
Bin ID.
Okay, so get property equivalent to what? If you look at Java code, Java student here. So it equivalent to all the getter method, right? So when you have bin ID, so get property is equivalent to get method. So the property here is sample. So I should be need to use the normal JSP syntax will be the one that your friend posted. Yeah. So you want to show, right? Show meaning that expression. So you use expression syntax for JSP. Call the bin ID object, which is this is the bin ID. Dot get sample. That's it. Hello class. This is normal JSP. This is using Java beans in JSP. So you need to know the difference. Yeah. This is using Java beans. This is using normal JSP. Okay, thank you, Shaza, for the answer. All right, let's look number 6. Suppose you want to get the value of the input parameter name score. Okay, and then you set it to the Java beans property name score. Now I would like you to write a fragment code for this in GSP. I give you about 5 minutes. Find out how to do this. Anyone have any idea for that? So the question asks you to get the value of the input parameter. Input parameter means score. So meaning that you have value is from the form. Okay. So I mentioned earlier in the student.csp, meaning that you will have to write this input parameter frame say score equal to this request dot get parameter, and this will score. So this is from a form being submitted to this page, and then this is the example of score, right, from input parameter. So we always use request.get parameter. This is the text name, yeah, from the input text field. So you will get the value assigned to this score. Yeah. So after you have done that, now we will need to set, right? So we will use the set property basically. So you're going to assign the set property. So the syntax will be the same, just that the property will be different. So the value here, we need to put the score value. Is this correct?
No.
Why it should be?
Blank kosong.
Plain kosong. Why plain kosong?
Sebab property dah ada score. Tak tahu.
You need to put the value basically if you're using set property. So set property tu dia macam setter. You want to set score. So set score kalau you put blank, tak tahu nak dapat value tu daripada mana. The normal syntax will be what? Kalau you ada student object dot set score kan. Of course set you need to pass the score here. This is the normal Java syntax. But then if you have this, kamu tahu ni yang ni. Is that score ni nak letak kat mana? Oh, this need to be put here. The value itu ini kena masukkan score punya value. So the syntax for this, saya perlu letak score macam mana? Ada tak syntax dia? Anyone can give me? Sets property, of course, you need to pass the value. Otherwise, you cannot use the set. Can want to set the student dot score equal to something. So the value must be from the input parameter, which is this one. The value here, syntax dia macam mana kelas? Anyone? Ada? Kita buat macam ni. Boleh kelas? Faham tak? How it being assigned. Ini normal Java syntax. Ya. Ini ialah Java beans using GSP. So you want to assign the value of score. So kita dah tahu dah, score ni dah dapat value daripada request.get parameter. So you want to assign the value. So in order for you to assign the value, kita akan gunakan this Java beans syntax in GSP. This one you mix it with the normal GSP. You can do that, basically. Boleh?
Boleh.
Faham. So this is how you get the score value from the parameter that being assigned. This is the input that you get from form. And just imagine that you have form. All right. Kalau you ada star, macam ni kan? Star like this, right? Star like this, meaning that dia akan find out kat mana from the form tu, adakah property score tu ada tak that term dalam form. So the property name here must be the same with your form. Kalau dekat form you, ada form tak contoh? Dekat form. Ni ada form kan? Kalau name equal to name, so make sure dekat here will be name juga. So dia akan find out. Okay, the code is brilliant enough to find out which property that match with the form text. Kalau you ada branch, so make sure property is branch. So when you use this tag, dia akan match. Boleh. You can use this one as well. Dia akan match accordingly lah. Kalau you dah ada banyak set, macam you use set all kan? So you ada kadang-kadang ada set all methods dalam Java class. So that is the function for set all. So ni set all lah. To set all the variable accordingly. All right. Any questions so far? Java Beans and JSP. Ada? Tak ada. Then I'll give you the link for quick chat. So this is for today. Java Beans and JSP. So please answer the question in quick chat questions. All right, I think that's all for today. Thank you, class.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.